Hey y'all, and welcome to Janet being Janet. Okay, so without a crystal ball, uploaded a video, and I'm going to do my reaction to it about Ryan and Blake demand her sources. So let's see what she's going to get us into today. And if you ain't already done that, I don't know why. But if you have done that and you haven't been getting notifications, go down and double check. Make sure that YouTube didn't unsubscribe you. They're doing that a lot lately, and it's not my fault.
Hi, besties. Welcome back to my channel. Last week, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. And I say this because Blake and Ryan are doing everything together. And even though
And you know what? Yeah, they're husband and wife, so usually that happens.
Ryan is not named as a plaintiff or a defendant anymore, his name was still on the subpoena that I got.
So that means they are working together, and you can say Blake and Ryan. Woman, you are absolutely. The obvious just. It escapes you.
Got from Google, which I thought was wild. So when I say that Blake and Ryan had a bad week, I would say it was Blake and Ryan that had a bad.
Oh, I think you had a bad week. You want to know why I say that? Because you took yourself over to Insta and had to resort to doxing. That right there is having a bad week.
Bad week, though it would appear that Ryan is using his wife as a shield to fight his battles for him and trying to deflect all of the bad press onto her. I mean, if you
And you use somebody else in your household as your shield. Every single time you get in trouble, you make a post that doesn't need to be made.
you were married to a man like that, who needs an enemy?
Oh, yeah, you think I'm your enemy. You think everybody's a bot working for Robert Sheehan.
Either way, Blake Lively had a mountain of bad press because she decided that she was going to take on the internet, and she got tons of backlash. I mean, the mainstream media couldn't even ignore it because what she was doing was akin to what a lot of other, celebrities and political people, and I'm not talking about Trump specifically. I'm just saying.
Oh, no, go ahead. Talk about Trump. Talk about being a liberal. Talk about your views. Talk about all that. You want to know why I say talk about all that? Because your views go, yup, and so do your subscribers.
That there's been a lot of discussion in the last couple years about this attack on the freedom of the press and the freedom of speech.
Okay, so Miss Maiden, you want to defend the freedom of speech and all that, then you leave me alone and let me speak what I want to speak. Because everything in here is my opinion, only my opinion, entertainment purposes, only entertainment purposes, and I'm just a mama having fun on YouTube. So if I fail to entertain you, I do apologize.
And if it's something that we care about, it should be something that we protect. And
Oh yeah, I protect my word, and I care about getting the word about you out there, so nobody else has to go through the stuff you put them through.
when she was seen going after online creators that are simply online and journalists, independent journalists,
Online creators. That's who she went after, because you classified yourself as an online creator, didn't you, Miss Katie? Did you misspeak?
online reporting using their voices and their protections under the law, it was too hard for many outlets to ignore. Well, amid that backlash and knowing full well, in my opinion, that a judge would never
Oh, alert the press! She said my opinion. Y'all alert the press.
allow this to happen, and knowing that the mountain of motions to quash that were being filed were going to come back and she was going to get scolded. And Ezra Hudson facing threats that she was going to
Edra is her attorney, and Miss Katie sometimes leaves things out.
be reported to the bar, possible sanctions, Blake facing possible sanctions, protective orders, and demands to the judge that he no longer allow her, Blake, to file any subpoenas without court ordered approval.
Okay, y'all remember back when Miss Katie got that, subpoena from Google? She was like, "This is fake." She went over on her social media, and this is fake. Don't fall for this. Don't fall for this. And she said she took it down within 2 minutes. No, that didn't happen. It took her a while to realize it's not fake.
That's right. Content creators were the first ones to step up to tell the court, listen, what she's doing here is wrong.
Okay, and so you wanted to say that you're part of a content creator because you got the same subpoena as the rest of the creators. Say that word, creators.
And suddenly, Blake decided that she was going to withdraw several of these subpoenas. And it's weird because on Thursday, I made a comment that I would be filing a joint motion to quash with Shasti and Janessa, and our attorneys were working together.
Is either one of those the little bitty channel that you say that you're going to support so much? That you're, because you use that little channel all over the place. So now that little channel has grown. I don't know the channel's name, but it's not a good way that she's grown.
To not only have us all sign declarations to the extent that we are not involved in this case, we're just independent people that are journalists that are covering this.
No, you're an independent person. No, I don't know hardly any other content creator that gets on here and talks about this and exclaims that they're journalists. I don't know hardly anybody else that does that. I haven't watched anybody who says they're a journalist.
Suddenly on Friday, she meets with some of these lawyers and she's like, okay, I'm going to withdraw Shasty's. I'm going to withdraw Janessa's. She decides she's going to withdraw a court of random opinion, which is Lauren, and she's going to withdraw Kenza's along with Ashley. And she sends this letter
Oh, and Miss Coyote's name wasn't up in there, now was it? Just like when the media was reporting, they didn't use Miss Coyote's name.
to the court, which is ridiculous, trying to justify
You are absolutely ridiculous. You just keep going and going and going on this subpoena because you ain't got nothing else to talk about at this point.
the use of the subpoena. And in that, on Friday, I wasn't offered that she withdraw mine.
But you were all over Insta.
Instead, my attorney had to talk with them in emergencies on Saturday to get them to consider it. And then they finally withdrew mine on Saturday.
Oh, does that mean that the legal fund stops? It's done, over, void, null? Is that what that means? Because if you're no longer a part of it, that means you don't need to be asking your people for money.
But trust me, they're not over because they want more information from me. And
Oh, and more information from Miss Coyote means open your pockets, open your wallets. Come on, I need it more than you do.
I wanted to share part of the letter that they wrote to the judge, and I feel like they're only doing this because they're trying to defend this overbroad, abusive, and completely inappropriate subpoena. She sent this.
When you can use this subpoena, like in the beginning you were using the subpoena as something that, you could gloat about, now then you're sitting here wanting out of the subpoena because everybody told you you got yourself into this. You did this. You don't need to be trying to get other people to get you out of it. But there's a reason why I'm bringing this to you. Y'all just keep holding on.
This to the judge on Saturday. Based on third-party representations made in meet and confers, public statements, and or information provided to Ashley, Mackenzie,
Please feel free to pause at any time. I've just learned I'm going to skip through it really fast. So y'all pause at any time.
and Cassidy, along with Leanne Newton, all of the people in the media landscape against her using untraceable sources to paint Miss Lively as the aggressor instead of the victim. She's not going after anonymous sources. She's not going after anonymous people. Every single person that spoke was visible.
So Miss Coyote and her sources, she's saying they're not anonymous. Yeah. But she is keeping all their information to herself. And she's going to talk to them, and then she's going to tell us what somebody else says. And it's like the game of telephone. I don't trust whenever that person talks and then Miss Coyote talks. I think that has to go through a lot of channels in Miss Coyote's head before it comes out her mouth.
Or on a channel and using their own voice. The reason why people call Blake an aggressor is because she is an aggressor. The Wayfair defendants have recently taken to mocking the reference to an untraceable digital campaign, claiming that such a notion defies common sense. But as they're well aware,
Common sense, Miss Coyote. Sometimes you do not have it. You absolutely, somebody forgot you on the way down.
Melissa Nathan discussing the blueprint states all of this will be most importantly untraceable. Untraceable in that, what? All they did was defend themselves during August, and no digital campaign even occurred. And
You and the smear campaign, can you find anything else to report on? Report on? But can you find anything else? Is it possible for anything else to be out there for you to talk about besides a smear campaign? Because you think everybody else is smearing you. If there's no smear campaign against Blake, there's not one about you.
furthermore, nothing online is untraceable. And
Remember that. So every time you dirty delete, just like you did that docs, we got it.
if I were a client of any publicist that told me they could run any sort of untraceable campaign, I would fire them because there's no such thing as not traceable on the internet. There's a digital.
Yeah, you don't have a publicist, you don't have a manager, you don't have nothing, do you, Miss Coyote? It's just you and that mouse that I call, what is that, Rotoli? I can't remember. Yeah, Ratatouille, that's what I call it.
Footprint for everyone. Either way, no untraceable campaign occurred, and Blake Lively knows exactly who she's going after because she chose to go after all of us. Miss
All of us, content creator, not journalist, Miss Coyote.
Lively's subpoenas were one part of the discovery process aimed at gathering information to link the Wayfair Party's activities to sources through YouTube and X, content creators. Her counsel has met and conferred with various individuals whose account information is the subject of the
She adds a couple of words and opinions in there, but she doesn't say that they're her opinions, she just adds them.
subpoenas, including the third parties who have filed motions to quash. Ms. Lively's counsel has advised Google and X that the subpoenas are withdrawn as to each of the following, which again names the same people, and they provided each of the third parties a copy of such withdrawal with the exception
If you've already named all the people, then why in the world are we even reading this? What's the point in reading this? What's the point in it being on the screen? There is no point, Miss Coyote.
of Cassidy O'Connell, who moved under a pseudonym and has not provided a service email or other contact information. While almost all of the third parties request to quash the subpoenas on behalf of not only themselves but also other and individuals in the city, she never really met and conferred with Lauren. But I guess apparently her public
Oh, Lauren will talk for herself. Lauren ain't afraid to speak her mind.
statements and in her motions prove that, she's not involved. And she's not telling us that she's not going to then go ahead and file individual subpoenas against us.
And that's what Miss Coyote's hoping for. If she gets an independent subpoena, then that means she can go to her audience, ask for more money. That means there's extra content on her channel. Because trust me, over the weekend, or over the weekend and the past couple of days, this woman has been just posting and posting and posting on Insta. It's absolutely ridiculous.
And for me specifically, they wanted to know if I had any anonymous sources.
Oh, you don't have anonymous sources, do you? You always say my source, but they're going to state anonymous.
Reach out to me and inform my reporting if I worked with any anonymous sources. Anonymous meaning the source doesn't identify who they are.
Okay, so that right there means you can no longer say that, right? Because your sources are people that have names. They actually exist, right? It's not something that come from this side of your brain or this side of your brain. Okay.
Anonymous meaning untraceable source. It's a misnomer. It's ridiculous. It can happen, but it
You are absolutely ridiculous by doing this.
didn't happen here. In fact, everyone I spoke to had a name, was verified, and was not anyone that worked for Wayfair or any of the parties in this lawsuit. And furthermore, sources that are
People like to go to her as a source, and I don't understand why they go to her. I really, really do not. But I also think at the same time they go to her, I think she's also tracking them down. That's my opinion. I think she's going after people so hard they give in.
are confidential and not named are not anonymous. They are simply people that are protecting their identity from the public because of retaliation and the fear of retaliation. And knowing that
Everybody that talks about you has to have a fear of retaliation. They absolutely have to. And if they don't, then they ain't got common sense themselves.
if they are to say something in this case and put their name on the record, they could also face retaliation from Blake. They could get blacklisted by WME. They could get blacklisted by Sony.
You've been blacklisted by almost everybody now because more and more people are calling you out, and you don't like it, do you? So you head over to Insta and you try to defame them over there. The problem is most people that are content creators on YouTube, only the YouTube audience pays attention there. You get called out on Insta sometimes, don't you? And you don't like it.
They've already seen what has happened to Wayfair, and now they're fearful of being on record. Some of them have gone on record, but many have not because of that retaliation.
You don't tell us any names. Even if they said, okay, Miss Kaiti, you can say my name, you don't tell us because you want us all to try to figure it out.
But there is no such thing in my reporting as an anonymous source. So under this pretense, the delusions of her are that some random sock account is
Y'all remember she has no anonymous sources, okay? Y'all remember that from this point on. No one is anonymous. Even when she says an anonymous source, it doesn't happen. Y'all remember that. That's a lie every single time she uses that word.
contacting me, not identifying who they are. I'm then taking them at their word, which defies logic when it comes to reporting. You need to verify who you're speaking to and verify their information before you report it. And
you've done a video on somebody reporting or coming to you or, whatever you want to call it. And I just, But you've done a video on that before. And people have called you out for that video because you've said, well, trust me. No, we don't trust anything you do.
And I'm just taking at the word of an anonymous sock account or an anonymous emailer or an anonymous tip. And that somehow is going to somehow link back to Wayfair. If it's anonymous, how would you link them back to Wayfair even if it were true? You can't.
As you say, the internet, everything's forever. It's permanent.
But it didn't happen. And what I think is deplorable here is that Blake Lively, when Justin sued the New York Times, Blake Lively used litigation privilege. She said that she was protected under litigation privilege, and she was also protected under the New York Shield law.
Okay, here's what I'm thinking, and here's what, in my mind, what I need to say is, okay, y'all hate me if you want to hate me. Y'all, there's a comment section below. Leave your hate for me down there. But if Ryan and Blake were to get her sources and all the information about her sources, and she had to give up her sources and all those became public, do you think anybody else would want to go to Miss Kaiti? You think? Would anybody else want to talk to Miss Kaiti about anything? I don't think so. So if she has to give up her sources, depends on how you look at it, it may be a good thing.
She said she had protections under the New York Shield law. And the New York Times never had to disclose to anyone, to the court, that Blake was their source. Of course Blake was their source. It's obvious Blake was the source. but they never had to disclose it to the court. But she didn't want to give up the fact that she spoke to the New York Times. She didn't want to give up the fact that her publicist, Leslie Sloan, spoke to numerous outlets. And her
There is no telling who all you spoke to. There is no telling how many people you've contacted. You got yourself kicked out of the Justin Baldoni Reddit, didn't you? I watched the first time when you got called out, and somebody said you're permanently banned. It wouldn't surprise me none.
her publicist continues to run a smear campaign against Justin with the fabricated claims of this untraceable smear campaign, defying all common sense and all logic that this untraceable campaign.
You want to talk to Justin, don't you? I do believe that you tried to get a hold of Justin, and you couldn't get a hold of Justin. You want to try to get a hold of his family. You couldn't get a hold of his family, so you went with somebody that would know information about Justin. Pretty sure how that worked.
Could occur after a lawsuit had occurred. It would be unconscionable and highly unethical and downright illegal for
What do you care about ethics? You ain't got no ethics, woman. You don't even know what the definition of that word is, and you don't know how to follow by it.
a defendant in a case to try to intimidate the plaintiff and continue a illegal quote-unquote smear campaign against them. What she
Quote unquote sources.
seemingly fails to understand is that in the world of the media, people get to speak to the press and they get to be confidential.
And you don't like it when the press doesn't talk about you, do you? You want your name up in them headlines, and until somebody puts you in them headlines, you're not going to be happy.
There is a risk to their safety. And knowing full well that Miss Lively has gone to lengths to dox the full addresses and phone numbers of individuals that are not parties to this case by filing.
Wouldn't surprise me none at all if you don't go ahead and do that. If you would have thought for certain you got balls doxed correctly, I think you would have continued. I think you would have put even more information out there. Even though a name and a state, it's different for me. Y'all don't know my last name, and I don't want you to know my last name. But y'all already know who I'm from, so that wouldn't be where I'm from. So that wouldn't be doxing me unless she put my last name in there. And if she shared anything about my husband, ooh, no. You're going to get the real opinions of Janet. Yeah, these are my opinions, but you're going to get meaner opinions of Janet.
Filing their service affidavits from service processors. She knew for months that this protective order was in place to not dox addresses. She demanded that all of it be sealed because she was worried that her address was going to become public, but she had no fear or concern about the innocent third parties that were not involved in this case, that have nothing to do merely other than the fact.
Oh, she's on a roll. She's on a roll. She's on a roll. Miss Kaiti, why don't you go ahead and put your name, your address, everything out there, because we know your name, your real name, and we know your state. So go ahead and finish that for us. Go ahead and put your address out there.
That she is delusional and thinks they're part of it and taking her down. She goes and doxes their addresses. A docket that is viewed by thousands of people, maybe millions, a docket that...
Dox yourself. Go ahead, Miss Kaiti, dox yourself. Go ahead and let everybody know where you live. People know what county you live in automatically and already because people have been watching you a lot longer than me.
Is widely reported on, and she is publishing their addresses. Who's the one that's really dangerous here? Wait.
You. Yep, you. Mm-hmm. You prove it constantly.
Wayfair has not published anyone's address. Wayfair has not put any source or third party in danger. They have not disclosed anyone's confidential health records. But, Blake has. She doxed.
Aren't you wanting all those in your lawsuit? That I think you believe your lawsuit is over. That's what I think. I believe, because you said the civil suit was done. So I believe that you think with all this going on with Robert, your case is over, done with, kaput, and you ain't got to worry no more.
That Mr. Jed Wallace faced a life-threatening health crisis due to what was going on in this lawsuit, with no regard for his safety or his well-being, but she won't give up her own medical records. Blake,
you want to know something? I could give you the issues that's wrong with me, but I'll tell you right now, I suffer from major manic panic attacks. And so Miss Kaiti coming after me, sometimes she don't think about my health and well-being either, does she?
Lively won't give up her financial records to prove damages, but then she wants the financial records of the quote-unquote untraceable smear campaign. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't compute. It's all just abusive, threatening.
And we would, if they got your information, most likely what we would see is all them donations were going straight in your pocket.
Intimidation and harassment under the guise of a frivolous lawsuit. And what they're not doing is just withdrawing the subpoenas altogether. Instead, they're going one by one to the court to withdraw individual people, but they're not withdrawing the totality of these subpoenas.
You keep getting yourself in trouble. The more you talk, the more trouble you get in. Woman, learn how to shut your mouth.
Which means if someone doesn't have an attorney, can't afford one, or doesn't understand the legal process, and
they just need to come to Miss Kaiti so Miss Kaiti can be their little, the umbrella that protects them.
Know that they can contact Ezra directly and fight this. It means there are creators still at risk right now of having their bank records handed over to Blake Lively, or their bank account records and their credit card numbers.
Good thing you have an attorney that works on absolutely everything with all the trouble you get yourself into.
Their IP addresses and their addresses, knowing full well that Miss Lively could then go ahead and dox them or threaten them or try to sue them or
You have no business talking about doxing. Absolutely no business. There's two within the past, month and a half? Two that you've doxed.
file some other litigation against them. She's only going against the people that have humiliated her in court, and they're trying to get ahead of what would be a smackdown and a verbal lashing from the judge.
Oh, people humiliate you all the time, and you just get madder and madder about it. And you know what? There's people that believe that you watch me, and you get in my contacts or comment section, and you don't like what they have to say. I've told y'all that for a while now.
Additionally, they don't want to hear from the judge that what they're doing is illegal. So they're just going to withdraw it and pretend like nothing happened. Even though multiple people have asked the judge for sanctions against her, protective orders, and seeking.
Some people need to get a protection order against you. Some people do. Because, lady, you don't stop.
Legal fees for what she's done. Nope.
And you're getting your legal fees from your audience.
Just withdraw them. I'm sorry. Just kidding. Or the calls that Ezra Hudson is going to be reported to the bar. Nope, just sorry. We are going to withdraw that against Cassidy because we don't want to get reported to the bar. It doesn't.
You haven't mentioned Perez. You haven't mentioned Candace. You haven't mentioned Popcorned Planet.
Change what they did. It's just a backtrack. They're running scared. They're doing.
You are too. But you can't run out your front door. So you can't run far.
PR damage control. If they really knew and
you do damage control by posting things and deleting them, KT.
Believed in the validity of these subpoenas, they would not have just simply withdrawn them based upon public statements. If the attorneys would have done their own due diligence and say contacted people directly and said, can you
Is that what you do? Do you contact people directly? Is that what you do? Because I think you like writing letters to other people's attorneys that ain't got nothing to do with this case.
Tell me if X, Y, and Z happened before going to a court and issuing a subpoena, which can actually, if you don't respond to a subpoena, place you in contempt of court, which means fines and possible jail time.
But I'm still waiting for them to actually get the information they want from you. Would be kind of nice, wouldn't it, guys?
And then she used an end around and went to Google instead of directly to the content creators in the hopes that none of us would actually get contacted. And then after withdrawing them, not making clear that she won't further subpoena us as third-party witnesses and try to...
Okay, so here's the thing. She's still talking about subpoena. So if she ends up getting... Okay, she's got this subpoena, right? And here's another part of my thought process. If somebody talked to her that was really, really close to Justin, okay, and that information got out there, Justin would most likely get rid of that person. I know I would. I definitely would. But he would probably get rid of that person and say, you have no business talking about what's going on with me with anybody else personally. Therefore, that would mean that people would know that they need to be careful when they talk to Miss KT because it's going to be outed. If this goes through, and I don't want anybody to go to court. I never want to end up in that situation. But if this thing goes through and they get all of her sources, I think that Miss Kaiti would be in a world of hurt whenever it comes to her channel.
Try to seek documents directly from us because she still wants to know my anonymous sources, not respecting my journalistic privilege.
Did you just hear that? My anonymous sources. Didn't she say that there's no such thing as anonymous source whenever it comes to her? Isn't that what she said? See, she tells on herself.
The New York Shield laws and the fact that under the U.S. Constitution, sources are protected from retaliation and have a right to speak without fear of being uncovered.
But yours are anonymous, right? You said it yourself.
And the fact that she still thinks, after all of this, that people formed their opinion by something Wayfair did is ridiculous. Her own actions.
Oh no, they're talking about people forming their opinion based on something you did.
Are what is putting her in this position. So for present, some people's are being withdrawn. Mine was withdrawn on Saturday, but I've been given no assurances from them that they won't subpoena me individually.
So you're doing this for absolutely no reason whatsoever at all, Miss Katie. I tell y'all every single time, if you want to know what's going on, go to the very end. I tell y'all every single time, and I didn't tell you this time.
I've been given no assurances that they won't try to sue me. Nothing. Just, we're withdrawing. But can you please tell us your anonymous sources? I don't have...
See, they asked nice. You can't say you don't have anonymous sources. You said they want your anonymous sources. And you're not going to tell them. Don't you double talk in one video.
Any anonymous sources, Blake? and none of them were. And I have confidential sources, and none of them are tied to Wayfair. None of them. None of them are the attorneys or the publicists or the defendants. None of them. And even if
She didn't say none of them are tied to Justin. Not one of them. No one. No one's tied to Justin. She didn't say that, did she?
on the chance that I ever spoke to any of them, it's not against the law for Wayfair to defend themselves in the public when you are
Why are you getting so daggum pressed about this? What is your issue? Your tone of voice is actually changing. You're not. You know that gray line that goes across your screen all the time. That's not happening. She's getting emotional in this.
constantly slandering them on a day-to-day basis. Blake Lively will not recover from this PR backlash. She is going to be lucky if she gets out of this from the judge without a serious scolding and possible sanctions. And as
I always tell everybody, all you're going to get is a boop, boop, tap on the hand.
Zara doesn't get to erase what she did, she very well could end up with complaints filed against her with the bar. And
People already said they were going to file complaints. Where the crap have you been? Besides your office with the door shut, on your computer, where else have you been whenever it comes to being online and people telling us stuff?
there are plenty of us that have grounds to do so. All right, that's it for right now. I'm sure there'll be more to come today. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments
I already told you my thoughts, and you know what? I ain't going to go into the comments, but if y'all have something to say, y'all go into my comments, because you know you're always welcome there.
below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to
Y'all can thumbs up it, thumbs down it, whatever you want to do, because I don't control you.
subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks
And if you click the bell, turn it to all, so you'll get every single time that I talk about Miss Katie.
so much for watching. Bye, besties.
Well, I'm not your bestie. I'm not your bestie. Did y'all learn anything from me? If you didn't understand, because sometimes I'm not educational, but hopefully I gave you a little bit of something to think about. Maybe, hopefully. I don't know. You tell me in those comments below, just like she says, pop off below, sound off below. Yeah, that's her. But anyways, I hope you have a good day, night, weekend, holiday, year, whenever you might be watching this, and remember to smile today, or make somebody else smile, because it really can make a difference. Get into that comment section and let me know what you think about her subpoena being withdrawn, and then wanting her sources. Y'all just do that. Like I said, you already know my opinion, and she don't like it. All right, guys, y'all have a good one for me. Bye.